What's good? What's good? I am back. Yours truly, the one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and more. Before I get started, don't forget the video version of this podcast goes to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, and also I will take the video and I'll stream it live on three of my Twitter accounts, which is typically Twitter at Paul P Podcast, Twitter at Paul W Pickett, and usually Twitter at Promo Palace LLC. But sometimes I'll do Twitter at Indie Castle and Twitter at Urban Obsessions, which is ERBINUBSESSIONS, Urban Obsessions. All right. First things first, let me pull up last night's NBA scores, and I'm definitely going to be posting up more podcasts during the NBA playoff season. Pretty much, probably every night there's some playoff games. I'll probably be doing a podcast, and I'll just try to swing in a topic or two, and I might be plugging in some topics based on movies or TV shows or something I watch. It's something that just interests me. Like I think I'm gonna get into one from a TV show that I was watching, a Marvel TV show. All right, last night's games, of course, we had Miami beat Atlanta, and I think I picked Miami. Memphis beat Minnesota. I picked Phoenix to beat New Orleans Pelicans, but I did say 2 episodes ago that New Orleans Pelicans definitely had when you compare their 2 top scorers against the 2 top scorers in Phoenix, the Pelicans had the top 2 scorers, and we'll get into that in a second. Miami's probably gonna sweep Atlanta. Trae Young had like 10 turnovers. Clint Capella's out. John Collins just came back. I don't really give them a chance. And it's going to be very interesting. The next 2 rounds are going to be very, very interesting. I mean, they're going to be extremely interesting when you get to the next 2 rounds for the Eastern Conference. The Western Conference, it's going to be, it's going to be tough, that second round, but not like this Eastern Conference, because when I get into this, the breakdown of, pretty much who's probably going to be playing who. I mean, it should be a bunch of dogfights going on. So Memphis came back. Minnesota got a little too cocky after game 1. Karl Anthony Towns is talking big talk. I mean, they got waxed. They got spanked. They lost by 28 points. Ja Morant put on a show. Memphis, I think, had 7 people scoring double figures. It's kind of hard to beat a team when 7 people scoring double figures. I mean, it's impossible pretty much to bring. You got 16 from Jared Jackson, 16 from Desmond Bain, 23 from Ja Morant, and it wasn't even like he put up 33 or 43. It was so well balanced. 13 from Brandon Clark, 13 from Zaire Williams, 10 from Tyus Jones, and 13 from Xavier Tillman. If I'm not mistaken, Zaire Williamson was just playing with Bronny like a couple years ago. And he done play 19 minutes in a playoff game. I mean, Minnesota, you had 20 from Anthony Edwards, but nobody else cracked 20. And D'Angelo Russell, he hasn't done nothing the first 2 games. And I've seen his stat line where he's had his best games against one team this year was against the Grizzlies. He averaged 30-something points against the Grizzlies this year. So he's due for a game or 2. And Minnesota is going back home. And that's the thing. Minnesota, they got 1 game on the road. They should be happy as it is right now. They should be highly pleased. Just like Utah losing to Dallas. Utah was supposed to win both of those games in Dallas with Luka being out. They got their two best players, and Dallas doesn't even have their best player. So there's that. There's that. And then, of course, tonight's games, we got Brooklyn and Boston. Oh man, I'm going with Brooklyn. Philly and Toronto. I'm going Philly 3-0, and they'll probably be ending this series with like either a 4-0 sweep or 4-1. Five. It's gonna go 4 or 5 games. That's it. 5 at the most. I don't know that Chicago stands a chance against Milwaukee. If they do, tonight's the night. Tonight's the night. It really is. Tonight is the night for them to make a stand. Because if they don't, Milwaukee's probably going to finish them off in Chicago. Now, next round, we're more likely going to have Miami Heat versus the Sixers, which should be a dogfight. And you could have the Bucks versus the Celtics or the Bucks versus the Brooklyn Nets, which could be a dogfight. And almost like Milwaukee versus Brooklyn better, and then Miami versus Philly. You get on this other end. I mean, Phoenix, we got to talk about Phoenix. Devin Booker got hurt. Devin Booker went out the game. That's not why the Suns lost the game and the Pelicans necessarily won. The Pelicans were winning the game when Devin Booker went out and got hurt. He hurt his hamstring trying to go for a block on a steal. It's going to make it harder for Phoenix to get through the series. It's definitely going to make it harder. I know everybody's saying Chris Paul is the point guard. They should be good to go. They should be able to get through. I don't know that they win next game without Devin Booker. If CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram keep doing what they're doing, and Ilgauskas is out playing DeAndre Ayton, I say there's no way that the Phoenix Suns win the next game. If Devin Booker doesn't come back, I know this is a bold prediction, but I'm saying there's no way that they beat the Pelicans without Devin Booker. I don't think they have enough scoring without Devin Booker to beat the Pelicans. I clearly said that when you take the Pelicans and the Suns and you put them together, the top 3 scorers are Booker, CJ McCollum, and Brandon Ingram. And then Chris Paul, maybe. Or DeAndre Ayton, however you want to go. And that's another thing. Phoenix if Devin Booker doesn't come back for the next series against Dallas or Utah, that's even going to be tougher. Oh man, Golden State, Minnesota is going to be a dogfight. I like to see that. I'd rather see Golden State and Minnesota. I mean, not Minnesota, Golden State and Memphis. Excuse me, Golden State and Memphis. And if Minnesota does win, that'd be a good step in the right direction for their franchise. It'll definitely be because they got Anthony Edwards, I'll tell you that much. They got the number 1 pick with Anthony Edwards. They had a number 1 pick with Wiggins, but Wiggins ain't no Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is clearly going to be a better player than Andrew Wiggins, if not already. But the East is going to be so tough. So tough. All right, let me get a couple topics. Denzell Ward, 5-year, $100 million, 71.5 guaranteed. Came out of nowhere. A lot of people didn't expect this. I saw Colin Cowherd's take on this, and I have to agree with him. Cleveland Browns are pretty much following the lead of somebody like the Rams. They're paying their quarterback a lot of money. They're paying a wide receiver a lot of money. They're paying a pass rusher a lot of money, and they're paying a cornerback. So cornerback, quarterback, wide receiver, and pass rusher. And you got a lot of these other teams paying safeties all types of money, and you really don't pay running backs a ton of money because they're only, they're really only good for 3 or 4 years, and they really only have 2 peak years, even when they're good for 3 or 4 years. I mean, like when the Broncos won the back-to-back with a running back, he had like Terrell Davis. He had 2000 back-to-back seasons, but he didn't do much before that and too much after. Running backs are the most expendable position there is. You could just get a fresh rookie running back on a rookie contract and pay him less money, and he could still put up 1,000, 1,200 yards rushing, because that's typically when running backs are at that peak. That when they come into the league, they're usually their first, second, third, fourth year. Their first 4 years is usually the peak of a running back. Everybody can't be Adrian Peterson. Look at Ezekiel Elliott. Ever since he's got his contract, he might have had one good year after that, and then he's been declining ever since. He's literally probably the most overpaid running back in the league right now because of his decline. Browns are all in. Browns are changing the game too, because that's 2 players that they got guaranteed money. And they always said, people have always said of how compared the NFL to the NBA, that the NBA money is so much more guaranteed. The contract's so much more bigger. Yes, they got less players on a team, because NBA players play offense and defense, but the money still could be more guaranteed in football. Especially with like the injuries. These cats, like, the injuries are so high in the football that guys risk it all sometimes, where they have career-ending injuries. And what do they do? Then some people, that's all they know is football. So everybody can't go into being a sports announcer and being a coach. There's only so many jobs for every athlete to be a broadcaster, a sports announcer, or a coach. There's only so many of these jobs out there, So the Browns are they're going all in. They're going all in. I want to get into this little topic that I saw. It was on the Black Conservative podcast, and it kind of goes into where I was explaining how cancel culture really works. When I was explaining 50 Cent and Ja Rule. It was like about 3 or 4 episodes ago, whatnot. But before I get into that, let me give you a word from one of our sponsors.
That Denzell ain't no joke, got me addicted, ain't no coke. Let's just have a toast. Anybody want some smoke? Cause it's up, I be Denzell up. Me sipping with my double cup. Can't just have one, you gotta double up. You pour it, gotta watch it bubble up. I ain't gon' lie, I cannot get enough. When Callie said I need another one, gon' have you coming back for more. But go get it while it's hot, before it be sold out in your stores. That Denzell.
Check them out, DenzellBrand.com. Do you Denzell? Yes, I Denzell. Got a couple bottles in there. There's a little flyer. Denzell Brand. Just add ice. Denzell on ice. Step into the future. Do you Denzell? DenzellBrand.com. You can get the merchandise on there. Get the t-shirts, the hats, the hoodies. Also, go to DenzellBrand.com. Click on our locations. And the top 3 links is online order links. We can order your very own bottle of Denzell Brand. Denzell Premium Luxury Liqueur. It's a mixture of agave tequila, cognac, and orange liquor mango mix. Just make sure you're 21 and over, and you go order your very own bottle of Denzell and get that merch as well to promote the Denzell brand. We appreciate it, Ethan Klein, canceled by his own fans, lost all his sponsors. Ethan Klein, he's not nobody is super big, but he interviewed Jordan Peterson a while back. And he basically afterwards made an assumption that Jordan Peterson's ideologies and views are dangerous and this, that, and the third. He's transphobic. You know, this is the thing. Just because somebody doesn't agree with your way of life, your lifestyle, and or they don't accept it, your way of life or your lifestyle or your views, it doesn't make them afraid of you. It doesn't make them transphobic. Just because I don't accept the transgenders lifestyle or way of life as something that I would want to be around at all, it doesn't mean I'm afraid of them. It's not my cup of tea. You know, it's just not my cup of tea. It's no different than my neighbor. He's gay, he's homosexual. I talk to him all the time, but am I going to hang out with the guy? No, I'm not going to hang out with him because we don't have much in common, and we have, you know, like my lifestyle is completely different than his lifestyle. My way of life is different than his way of life. I'm a hermit. I'm a hermit. I make money online. I don't have to leave my house unless I want to go get some food. I don't even really have to leave my house. Like I said, unless I want to go get some food. I don't have to leave my house to go get food. I can get all my food delivered. I can get everything delivered to my house. I don't have to never leave my house. I can just sit there and make money every single day, pretty much. And that's that. And everybody doesn't accept my way of life. They don't agree with my way of life. Doesn't mean they're scared of me. So we got to stop throwing out these transphobic, homophobic terms. Nobody's scared of y'all. I'm not scared of no man or woman on the face of this earth. So I have no fear of no human being. Just because I don't want to hang out with you and be associated with you does not mean I'm afraid of you. So let's get that out of the way. So Jordan Peterson is not transphobic. So this guy, he basically interviews Jordan Peterson, and he deletes the interviews later, saying, because he don't like Jordan Peterson's views and this, that, and the third. He doesn't agree with him. And first of all, the guy interviewed Jordan Peterson to try to get fans and subscribers and to build off of Jordan Peterson's name and fame and following a fan base. You're using Jordan Peterson, but then when you don't agree with his views and how he the things he says or whatnot, you want to remove his videos like you're canceling or remove the interviews you did with him like you're canceling them and stuff. And basically what happens is later on, so this guy is basically like a pro cancel culture kind of guy. He's all for cancel culture. And he basically says something that some of his fans and subscribers deem like anti-gay or homophobic or whatever it may be. And he loses his sponsors. And Jordan Peterson chimed in on him deleting the videos because he posted on Twitter, I'm deleting the interviews. And Jordan Peterson is like, okay, but I thought we had a good conversation, good interview. I actually liked you. I thought you was a cool dude. But, you're all for this cancel culture. And that's the thing. Even when you're pro cancel culture, if you don't say something that they don't like, then they'll try to cancel you too. And this is how cancel culture works. He lost all his sponsors. That's how cancel culture works. Because what happens is his customers, the fans, subscribers, contacted his sponsors. Like, unless your actual fans and your actual subscribers start speaking up, this idea that your non-fans or non-subscribers can cancel you is really bogus. It's really bogus. And even though he lost his sponsors, he's not technically fully canceled. His sponsors, canceled themselves out of the mix, because that's another thing. Like, me as a businessman, I look at what's going on with Netflix, which they've lost 200,000 subscribers because they got this woke content. They got this one thing where about a guy having a baby. Then you got Colin Kaepernick comparing the NFL to slavery, but he's begging to get back to the NFL, but he's comparing it to slavery. Sounds a little hypocritical to me, but that's another conversation. So, this whole cancel thing is crazy. It's like, I would never want to do with a business that is too woke. Like for example, like these people invested stocks into Netflix, and Netflix is taking this woke stance. And that's why Netflix is losing money in subscribers, and they talking about they might lose 2 million in the next quarter because they lost a quarter million. They lost a quarter million in the first quarter. That's the first time they've ever lost that many subscribers in any quarter of the year. And I guarantee it's because they're alienating a lot of their customers and consumers by taking this woke stance. And this woke stance is a Democratic far leftist radical political stance. So that's another thing. As a business, I'm never really going to say Democrat or Republican. And I voted Democrat once in my life for Barack Obama, but I'm not a Democrat. I always said I probably should have voted for Bill Clinton. If anybody, I probably should have voted for Bill. But even he did some fucked up things as well. So I really should have never voted for none of them cocksuckers. But yeah, so I don't try to take a political stance and alienate half of my consumer fan base. Real Promo Pilots LLC, I do music promotion. I do online marketing, SEO, press releases, and I would never take a political stance that would piss off half of my consumer base. I would never come out and, send out an email and be like, vote Democrat or vote Republican. I would never send out any email that has anything to do with any politics whatsoever. I would never send out anything that's woke whatsoever, like, let me go ahead and I would never email out like, yeah, all white people are racist when half of my consumer base is white, if not more. And probably it's probably half, because I have a lot of black customers or African American customers. Really depends on what the person's preference is of what they want to be called nowadays. But I have a lot of black customers because I promote a lot of hip hop music. I promote a ton of hip hop music, and hip hop is a dominantly African American black music. There is some successful white musicians in hip hop. Beastie Boys, Eminem. I mean, you had Everlast. You've had some successful ones. Mac Miller before he passed. G-Eazy's pretty successful right now. Post Malone. There's a lot of dudes successful in the urban realms of music. So I would never, and that's the thing, I would never do anything that would alienate my black consumer base. I would never do anything that would alienate my white consumer base. I have probably a small set of Hispanic consumer base, but I would never do anything to alienate them. I have a lot of international consumer base, a lot of German, UK, Australian, France, Spain. I have customers from multiple countries in multiple continents, across the world. And I would never do nothing to alienate any one of them, not even one single one of them. So when I see these businesses taking a stance, I would be literally leery to like put stocks into any big business nowadays, because a lot of them are taking these political stances or these woke stances. Like Disney, is pretty woke right now. They keep it up, they're gonna lose my money. The reason I unsubscribed for Netflix was because, the Colin Kaepernick thing. I was like, I can't give them my money with this horse shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, let's stop it. Let's stop it. It's nowhere near slavery. 35 million, you make it 25, 35 million a year when we're comparing this shit to slavery. Stop it, man. It's one of the most hypocritical stances I've ever heard. And I just it was such a slap to the face to me. I couldn't give Netflix my money. And if Peacock takes such a woke stance, they'll lose my money. Hulu gets too woke, they'll lose my money. Amazon Prime. I mean, because if you alienate me as a consumer, you keep spitting in my face or slapping me in my face, I can't keep spending money with you. And that's what a lot of these businesses are doing. And this guy, Ethan Klein, is such a hypocrite because you're pro cancel culture because you want to cancel Jordan Peterson, which I strongly agree with a lot of what Jordan Peterson says. Not everything, but a lot of what he says. And that's the thing. You can never be woke enough for the woke mob. And once you go woke, you go broke. Because once again, you alienating half your consumer fan base or your consumer base together. You do know like half the United States is pretty much Republicans and other half is Democrats. And it might be like 51-49, but it's still like half and half pretty much. It's not like 80-20, 70-30, even 60-40 is more half and half. I mean, that's still too much consumer base. 40%, 30%, 20%, 10% is just too much consumer base to just alienate, just to try to take a political stance, just to go woke. As a business, you should never do that. And I never do that on Promo Palace LLC. Paul Pickett Podcast is technically a whole different entity of Promo Palace LLC, but I don't take no woke stance here, and I don't really take no political stance. I didn't vote for Trump. So before y'all want to say I'm some white racist supremacist, voting for Trump, you better have your motherfucking facts straight before you assume things about me. I'm gonna get into this last little topic, but before I do that, it's another word from our sponsors.
A musician looking for music marketing and promotion? Then look no further than Promo Palace LLC, your one-stop shop for all music promotion services. Services include Spotify playlist pitching, YouTube video promotion, record pool promotion, blog placements, radio airplay promotion, SoundCloud promotion, and much more. With over 2,000 customers and over 10 years of experience in online promotion, Promo Palace LLC is a company you can trust. For more info, please go to promopalace.biz. See you there.
That's right. Go to Promo Palace LLC or promopalace.biz. Get marketing promotions from promopalace.biz. One-stop shop for all promotions. And we mainly promote musicians, but we can promote brands as well. And as you see, the website is scrolling below. All right, this last topic of the day, I'm going to get into federal judge removes mask mandate on airplanes and airports. I've said this before on my podcast, and I'm about to get into this, though. You got a lot of people on the left having hysteria over this, which is really it's crazy. Let me break down something for y'all, man. I just want to, before I get into my take or my opinion on this judge ruling. I haven't been sick for about 3.5, 4 years now. I got hit by a car about a few years ago, the same day my grandmother died. I had to stay with my mom for like 6 months because I couldn't get around where I was staying at. I had to move out where I was staying at, stay with my mom for 6 months. And where I was staying at was actually understanding about my situation because I got hit by a car, broke my foot, my leg, dislocated my shoulder. That was the last time I've been sick, was when I had to stay with my mom for 6 months. And so I've been in this apartment for about 3.5, 4 years, ever since I was able to start walking again on my foot and my leg. And I have not been sick one time since I've moved in this apartment. Now, why is that? Why is that, Paul? Why have you not been sick one time since you've moved into your apartment? Well, first of all, it doesn't take a rocket scientist or a liar named Dr. Anthony Fauci to tell you why. I can tell you why I haven't been sick for 3.5, 4 years. And it's for 2 reasons and 2 reasons only. Number one, I live alone. Unless you want to count my dog, I live alone. I don't have an old lady. I don't have a roommate. This is a 2-bedroom apartment, but my biggest room is one of my computer rooms in my podcast room. My smallest room is my bedroom because that's how I do. I sacrifice. I need more space for my business. I got multiple computers, desktops, and of course, the computer for podcasting. And then my couch for podcasting, table, podcast monitor, So there's that. I live alone. Number 2, I work alone. Why I work alone? Because I also work from home where I live alone. Those are the only 2 reasons I have not been sick in 3.5, 4 years. Don't need a CDC, don't need a rocket scientist to tell me that. Don't need Dr. Fauci to tell me that. So what does it have nothing to do with? Wearing a mask. Wearing a mask. So that's where now let's get into this. Federal judge removes mask mandate. I haven't been sick in 3.5, 4 years, and it has nothing to do with wearing a mask. It has everything to do with living alone and working alone. So what does it have everything to do with? Social distancing. So where do people not socially distance? At home when they have roommates and they live with people. And where are they normally with people the longest? At home where they have roommates and live with people. Where's the second place they're around people the longest and they probably don't social distance as much? Work. Most people working 5 to 8 hours. You're around the same people for 5 to 8 hours. This idea that you go into the grocery store and you're around somebody for 2 or 3 minutes and you're just automatically going to get sick. It's bogus, man. It's bogus. I don't care what the CDC says. I don't care what Dr. Fauci says. I go into the store all the time, no masks. Even when people they wasn't mandating masks, I was going there with no mask. Even when they were still mandating masks, there were still people not going in with masks. Because sometimes I was like, I'm not going in with masks. I have not been sick one time going in and out the grocery store. I go to the grocery store all the time, convenience store all the time. I'm around people all the time when I leave the house. But I'm not around them for long periods of time. I'm not conversating with these people when I go to the grocery stores like that, I'm not conversating with complete strangers too much. We're not sitting and stopping in each other's face and coughing and sneezing and talking. We're not coughing and sneezing around the apartment together. That's another thing. Most people living in apartments, they're not dissected. They were never dissected, disinfected. Most people were not disinfecting their apartments or their houses on the daily before COVID. And even when COVID came and Lysol sold out like that, I ran out of Lysol. And I can tell you right now, Lysol was not preventing me from getting COVID either, because and getting sick either. It's really just most people get sick around from people they live with or people they work with. People come to work sick and get everybody sick, or somebody in the household gets sick and they get everybody sick. That's how I've always gotten sick. Typically from somebody in the household getting me sick, or somebody I work with getting me sick. This idea that you're just gonna get it. And now on the airplane, now you are around people for long periods of hours, right? But airplanes their air is filtered. Their air is filtered, which means it's probably disinfected and all that, and so it's filtered. Like most people are not filtering their air on a daily in an apartment. They're not filtering their air daily in their house. So there's that. And then this is the thing, man. If you want to wear a mask for the rest of your life, hey, that's on you. But even the news doesn't care about COVID right now. I mean, we used to go to YouTube, there was a section just for COVID. Now that's just for Russia and Ukraine. Yes, there's people still dying. K Slay just passed from COVID. Rest in peace, K Slay. But I mean, like, it's not going anywhere. It's like the flu now. It's like everything else that people catch and spread to people. I mean, HIV, once it got here, it's not going nowhere. People still get AIDS, HIV, people still get gonorrhea, herpes. I mean, some things are here to stay, and you can sit there. If you want to sit there and live in fear about them all day, every day, that's on you, but you don't get to force me to have to live in fear with you. Because I just told you, I don't fear no man or no woman. I don't fear dying. I fear not reaching a certain success point before I die. That's what I fear. I don't fear death itself. I can't fear something that I'm promised, that I'm guaranteed. That's, it's going to come one day. All I can do is make it the most of my time on this earth, try to leave my mark behind, my memories, of and my contribution in life, what I'm saying, to this world. And that's all I can really do, what I'm saying? But I'm not going to live in fear like everybody else. I'm not going to live stressed out like everybody else. I'll be honest with you, I don't allow stress in my life, period. I don't allow it, period. Because stress is a choice. You could choose the stress thing. Like a friend of mine made a great point the other day. Like, our purpose in life isn't to work all day, every day, just to have to pay bills and rent. That was like, that's mankind's design. Mankind has made that our purpose. You look at the mountain men. The mountain men they making their money off the land. They're living off the land, But when you're in a city, you live off of man's rules, man's laws. Man dictates your purpose, Yes, I fell into that trap of my purpose is I have to make a lot of money to pay a lot of bills. But I've always had a bigger purpose than that too, though, because I've always wanted to be financially successful. But yeah, I agree with this judge. Like, if you want to wear a mask, hey, wear a mask. And you don't want to wear a mask, then don't wear a mask. But you people that wear the mask, when you are wearing a mask, don't be sitting there crying, complaining because we're not wearing masks. You got your mask. You want to act like, the mask is going to save you and prevent you from getting something that it doesn't. Go right ahead. Be delusional. go off with some false narrative and false principle. I can tell you right now, masks are not preventing people from getting COVID. And a mask has had nothing to do. I had not been wearing a mask for the last 3 or 4 years when I have not been sick. I don't wear a mask at home by myself while I'm working. I don't wear a mask when I walk down the street on the sidewalk by myself. I don't wear a mask, period, at all. Now, I keep one in my pocket just in case one of these places, because I do respect the business. If a business says, hey, can you please wear a mask? Can you put on your mask? I will respect the business. You know why? Because it's their business. I want somebody to respect my business the same way, because my apartment is my business. So if you walk up in my apartment and think you're just going to talk me in kind of way, I'm going to tell you to kick rocks. And if you go tell me you're not going to kick rocks and you're not going to leave, then I'm going to drag you out. I'm going to drag you out because you don't disrespect the man in his house or his own business. Because his business is his house and his house is his business. You know, vice versa. All right, y'all get what I'm saying, pretty much. Your business, like, is like if you own a business, your business is like your house. You don't disrespect them. You don't go up and disrespect the owner. You might disrespect the employees, but if you think you're going to talk to the owner the same way the employees, the owner could tell you to kick rocks. Fuck off. Because I've seen it done before. I worked for an owner that when I see the way he talked to the customers, it was in a manner that an employees couldn't talk. If you as an employee try to talk to a customer like that, you get fired. But the owner just be like, man, get out of here. Take your money elsewhere. You know, and as an owner, I've done that. When people try to stress me out over $5 or $10 orders, no, you do not have the right to stress me out over $5 or $10. I'm going to tell you to kick rocks, refund, go find somebody else to stress over $5 to $10. You want to stress me over orders, you better be spending $2,500 or more. I'm not stressing over $25, $10. No, that's a refund. Go elsewhere. You don't get to stress me out over that little bit of money. Once again, stress is a choice. And you don't get to make that choice for me. You don't get to choose to stress me out over 10 or 20 bucks. And you don't get to choose to stress me out over not wearing a mask just because you are. And I guarantee it's going to be 2 or 3 years later, we're still going to have dum-dums, complete idiots, jackasses, and morons wearing a mask that doesn't prevent you from getting COVID. First of all, they use the same mask every single day. Most of them don't wash the mask over and over again. They have same germs all over them. You know, it's really not being around sick people for a long period of time is the main thing and the only thing that really prevents you from getting sick. When you're around people with COVID for long periods of times, then you could possibly get COVID. But even short period of times, I guarantee I probably went into the grocery store and a convenience store with people who had COVID. And they didn't know it, and I didn't know it either. And who knows, I might have got COVID and never got a single symptom. Who freaking knows? And why the hell would I go to the doctors for a COVID test if I've not had a single symptom? That's another thing. If I'm not sick, like, just because somebody gets COVID doesn't mean they're going to get symptoms. So it means they're not sick. And if I'm not getting sick, why the hell would I go to the doctor? Who does that? Just to waste money on a doctor? Just to see the doctor? When you have no symptoms? People are only going to go when they get serious symptoms. And the only people getting serious symptoms are people who are typically already having serious symptoms of something. They're already typically very unhealthy, obese, asthma, lung problems, you know. If you notice, there's no athlete that's died from COVID. A couple, you had a rapper, K Slays died, Fred the Godson, and I would probably say that they probably had health issues before they got COVID. I know for a fact Fred the Godson had asthma before he got COVID. You know, so that's another thing. Something that's like if somebody's immune to COVID, it's not a pandemic to them. And they shouldn't have to, they shouldn't have to be responsible for a complete stranger's safety. That's another thing. This idea that we have to all be humanitarians to complete strangers that like like those far leftist radicals that say all white people are racist, that call me a racist and don't even know me. No, I don't hold no motherfucking responsibility to those jackasses. And I never will. And I never would. Because once you assume something about my character that's not true before you even meet me. No, kick rocks, go to hell, fuck you, screw you. I don't give a rat's ass what happens to you at that point. I don't hold no responsibility to you. Once you make assumptions about my character before knowing me, I don't make assumptions about people's characters before I meet them. I don't do that. Even though I don't like people who sag pants, I don't automatically assume that everybody that sags their pants is a gangster or a thug or will commit an armed robbery, or some of them are dorks and dweebs and doofuses too that sag pants. So I don't just assume things about people's characters just cuz, and this idea that complete strangers that don't care about me and would never ever care about me, that I should hold some kind of responsibility to them to protect their health and well-being, is some horseshit. It's not me being an asshole, or not being. It's not about being humanitarian. It's about the reality. It's I just did this last episode. I just said I agree with Malcolm X about you fight violence with violence. You don't just turn the other cheek and let somebody just beat you up and be violent. You have two choices. You either run or you defend yourself. So yeah, this idea that I should just love a person that hates me. No, I don't care about you one bit. If you hate me and you don't even know me, it's like the Muslims, terrorists that hate all people in America just because we're born in America, and our government has done some fucked up things over there. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean we all agree. I don't agree with everything our government does, military wise. I don't agree with everybody we go and attack military wise or go to war with or battle with. I don't agree with every single one. I don't hate all Arabic people, and all Arabic people don't hate me. I know that. But you got some, like the Muslim terrorists, they call us, like, I guess they'll say you're an infidel if you're a non-believer. They hate all non-believers without knowing anything about them. Why would I care anything about people like that? That goes for anything. Religious people, racist people, whatever it may be. I don't hold no responsibility to complete strangers that I never met. I'm responsible for myself and my dog, and that's it. I don't hold no responsibility to my mom or my sisters. They're grown-ups. They're adults at this point. They're responsible for their own lives at this point. My sister had kids. She's responsible for her kids. Both of them are married. This idea that complete strangers hold some kind of responsibility to protect the health and well-being for other complete strangers is horseshit, especially when half of them hate you and dislike you and judge your character, prejudge you before they even meet you one bit. And yes, I could be a asshole. I could be harsh or aggressive, but I do have a heart. I cry over movies. I cry over movies like Glory and John Q and there's plenty of movies that I cried. I cry over when you cry over movies. Trust me, man. You care about things, but you don't have to care about everything and every single buddy. This idea that you have to care about love, you have to love everybody. No, love is a two-way street, people. Hello, anybody home? Hello, anybody home? Love is a two-way street, people. It's not a one-way street. This idea I'm supposed to love you, but you don't love me back. That's not how love works. Same way with trust. It's not I trust you and you don't trust me or vice versa. No, trust is a two-way street. If we can't trust each other, there is no trust. Zero. If we don't love each other, there is no love. Zero. It's a two-way street, man. You can sit there and tell yourself, I love somebody who hates me, but it's not love. It's delusion. It's delusions of grandeur, whatever they say it is. You're delusion because the love is a two-way street. Trust is a two-way street. Honesty, it's a two-way street. It's not I'm just honest and you're not honest. If only one person is honest, then there's no honesty. There's none. So yeah, we gotta stop with these delusions, these false narratives. As far as the judge and the mask mandates, if some of y'all want to keep wearing masks, that's on y'all. If you feel like it makes you safer, hey, I feel safe in my skin every day of the week, no matter where I go. I don't need to walk out. I have a shotgun in the closet. I don't need to walk out the house to make me feel safe. I don't even need it in the house to make me feel safe. I only got it because, I wanted one, and who knows? I might need it one day. I never thought I would ever get hit by a car. I'll tell you that much. Not that I would ever take it back. I know this is crazy. I would never take back getting hit by a car. This is, the saying, what kills you only makes you stronger. Or what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. I don't know how they say it. What doesn't kill you only makes you stronger, or what doesn't kill you. However they say it. That shit is true. That shit is true. Because that shit made me stronger. Mentally, physically, emotionally. That's another reason why I don't fear no man on the face of this earth. Because you can't hit me harder than that car hit me. There's no MMA guy that can hit me harder than that car hit me. I'm sorry, you just can't. So I'm not scared of no man or woman on the face of this earth because I've been hit by a car. And then I'm not so much scared to die because I could have been dead already, I get hit in a different place, or the lady's going faster when she hits me with a car. Who knows? So yeah. Before we get off of here with episode 133, I'm going to play a commercial for the Paul Pickett podcast. This is your boy, the one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and more. Please check me out 3 to 4 days a week on my video podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Rumble. And check out the audio version on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM, and much more. Peace. See you there. That was yours truly, one of my commercials, Paul Pickett Podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and more. I want to thank you for tuning in. Episode 133. Peace.